I'd open up here today. I'm thrilled to be here. The SEC spring meetings from afar, I think, captivates college sports. All eyes seem to be pointed here in Destin, Florida, and to be a part of it, especially at a great place like the University of Texas. I'm both honored and thrilled to be here and excited to talk about Texas basketball.
For Lucina and for Dalen, how important is it just for them to be able to come in? Because you mentioned that you're not coaching the team, so for you to have a style and a way of doing things, how important is it to have those guys to maybe help the other guys who've been here or coming here to know how you operate?
Well, it goes to the word that everybody talks about in today's college sports model, and that's retention. We're all looking for ways to keep our best players, to have key contributors and winning players go from one season to the next. It's how things always have been. If you look at pro sports, the value of keeping your best players with you for long periods of time, because it's not only their consistency in their own performance, but it's their ability to impact others, to teach them, to coach them, to kind of show the way to those that are new. And Lucina and Dalen have a unique opportunity because they've been with us in Dalen's case for multiple years, in Lucina's case this past year. But they know how we travel, how we practice. They know terminology. They know people. They know our strength coach. They know who I am. And I do think that they'll be very helpful in bridging that gap that just is there when you're a new coach at a new place with the other players. Equally important are the 5 or 6 Texas returners, guys that have been in the SEC that understand what it's like to play in Nashville and be part of the SEC tournament, that live in Austin, that go to school every day. So, they're going to be able to, from that retention perspective, be very helpful in building. So if you look at it, we have retention this coming year, in my first year, 2 different ways, from the 2 guys coming from Xavier and from those returning from Texas. But that's a force that I don't think we underestimate. You obviously collect talent. You have to have a talented roster, especially in this league. But the familiarity and the retention part of it is something we hope to build as well.
Coach, what are the hot button issues in college basketball right now? I mean, college football, we're talking about college football playoff and 9-game versus 8-game schedule. What are the hot button issues for college basketball coach?
I think the hot button model is just it's singular. It's the name, image, and likeness, and how that's going to work moving forward. And look, as a coach, I don't think any of us can be presumptuous or act as if we know the answer. A part of it is just we're in this period of time of the unknown. And, I think the analogy that I've heard is you're flying the plane and building it at the same time. And to some degree, in terms of sports, that's true, right? Where you're trying to make the best decisions for your program, most importantly for the players that you're coaching in real time, knowing certain things may not be the same in the future. And by the way, certain things aren't the same today as they were even a year ago. So I think it's that unknown. There's never been more of it when it comes to that which affects recruiting, the lifeblood of what we all do.
Hey, Sean, when you look at on that topic, I don't know if there's truth to the idea that like a power forward SEC team that has a little less money to spend on basketball will be put at a disadvantage against, say, the place you left where they don't have to worry about football.
Mm-hmm.
Does that come up?
Yeah,
You
you're talking about the revenue share
know,
part. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
20.5
Mm-hmm.
where if
Yeah.
you're in Villanova, you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to worry about a football team. Is that an issue for you?
You hear that, but I think that me coming from there, I think that if we're here speculating on that towards them, they would equally be speculating on what we're doing down here, and that comes back to this awkward unknown part. You just truly don't know. It is truly speculation, and I know what you're talking about, but one of the other things that I feel as part of the SEC and certainly at the University of Texas is, that you're moving towards the future. You're certainly going to be at the table. And I think that's a very comforting feeling, whereas there are times when other conferences, as much as they want to feel that way, they can't because of the model that we are in and the power of football.
Both A&M, both A&M and Texas new head coaches. What do you know about that rivalry, and what do you know about Bucky McMillan and who he is as coach or person?
So an amazing fact, Bucky was Colby Jones's high school coach in Birmingham, Alabama. I was Colby Jones's college coach at Xavier. And Colby Jones, if you don't know him, he got drafted in the early second round. He's currently an NBA player, most recently with the Washington Wizards, an amazing kid, and connected to somehow the University of Texas and Texas A&M's basketball coaches. I think if you bet on that about 4 years ago, there would be a lot of people that would take the bet that that wouldn't be the case. So that's really my familiarity, and also I know he had great success at Samford.
Coach, 4 years ago, the SEC basketball was not where it is
Mm.
today. What made this so attractive to you coming to Texas and the SEC?
Well, it's two parts. I think the first part that's attractive is, in I think for any coach, is to be a part of the University of Texas. I mean, there aren't many places that combine the forces that we have on our side. The city of Austin, I think that it gets known around the country as like this really cool, great college town. I've never heard a bad word. It's a great place to live, a great food scene, live music, great college town. And you get to Austin, you're like, oh my goodness, like it's one of the top 10 largest cities in our country. Like, it's way more than a college town. It's a thriving city. It's the fastest growing city in America. And then, you look at our campus, start with the university itself. I think the statistic that is in play right now is 90,000 applicants a year. They accept less than 9,000. There are many universities that can say that, and yet the backdrop of Austin with University of Texas, and now you put the SEC in play, which it just means more is a great slogan. We've all seen it from the outside if you're not a part of the SEC, but it does. You feel that when you turn the TV on, when you watch a college football and this year a college basketball game, you sense that college sports is just incredibly important in this footprint. So that, and then the other part of Texas is the Moody Center and our practice facility. It's 2.5, 3 years old. There are very few places that have that type of new facility, and that's a great combination that I just named right there in a row. So it's a decision that, although for me, Xavier, it's not like I wanted to leave there. It's a great place in its own right. It's just if you really want to be the best or try to win at the highest level, I think the future of college sports is right here.
To dovetail on that, Sean, getting 14 teams in a 16-team league is probably going to be an anomaly. That's not. I don't think that's a norm. But how sustainable is double-digit bids plus for the SEC as you look at the landscape and where college basketball is going?
Yeah, that's a great question. It hits home with me because remember at Xavier, we played in the first four against Texas, right? So I guess they would have been towards the end of that 14 and, playing that game and how that game felt as a team that had a lot of pride in being in the Big East and playing a national schedule. You really sensed through that game the incredible depth of the SEC. One thing that's definitely going to change, and I don't think it's talked a lot about in basketball, is the no COVID year. In our case, we had a number of players in my 3 years at Xavier that were exercising their fifth year. It's a year that doesn't exist right now. So even this spring, as wild as everybody looked at the portal as being, there was about 25% of the pie missing. Zach Freemantle, who became our best player, if he were in this present day, he would not be eligible to be on the team next year. His year didn't exist. So I think just that alone, taking that one layer of talent where you can convince an all SEC player to return for a fifth year, and now that that's not in play, I don't think our league will remain as old. So I think just with that alone, I don't know if 14 of 16, I hope, but I could certainly see the effect of that moving forward. Even in the Final Four, when you looked closely at Auburn and Florida, two remarkable rosters, part of their greatness was that they had this gift of a blend of talent, but their older players, they were a big part of their success.
Who do you think that impacts? That's a really interesting
Yes. That would be my point there. Hmm.
Coach, can you talk about maybe re-recruiting some of the guys that maybe you're recruiting when you're at Xavier now, and then of course now establishing new relationships with guys that you're trying to hit the ground running with and going and see.
Yeah, the re-recruiting for me, or just the recruiting, is how I would put it, is just you show up and this is your first team meeting and you're looking at, the players that can come back and be a part of our Texas roster, this coming year. You really don't know them; they know you. I do think one thing that was very helpful for me is they just finished competing against the team that I coached, our team. So, part of a young person's questioning at the beginning is like style of play. They had a good sense. Whether they liked it or not, they had a feel through scouting and through playing that game of how we play, the pace we play at, how it felt. So I was able to describe our style really through that, and it just happened as well. So that's the uniqueness of, Xavier and Texas playing so late in the season. So that was part of it that was helpful. But I thought, the number one thing that we tried to establish is that we would love to have the returning players back, that we're going to put together a program that they would want to be a part of, and a winning program where we could grow and build what's already in place. So I'm thrilled about a lot of things moving forward and excited, but the returning Texas players is at the top of that list. I'm excited to coach them.
Can you try time for one last one?
Can you talk about your decision to retain Chris Ogden?
Yeah, Augie, it was an easy decision for me because, he's so well-rounded with his background. Former Mr. Basketball as a player who had choices and chose the University of Texas, a winning player, very popular with his teammates during his time. And then he became a coach for Coach Barnes and had a long period of time both at Texas, Tennessee. Went with Chris Beard, who I respect a great deal as a coach. So he knows the game, became a head coach. Think about that power right there. Just ran his own program for a period of time, and he did it in the state of Texas. So to have him in today's world as a general manager, talking to the people, knowing the community in Austin, it became an easy decision. And he's been so instrumental and also very helpful to our entire staff and program moving forward here over these, I guess, first 2 months plus.
Is he a good recruiter these days, Chris?
Yeah, he's limited because of his role as a accountable coach or whatever. Yeah, but he knows what to do and how to do it. He's very experienced and seasoned. Yeah, for sure.
His son's pretty good too, huh?
I don't think I can even comment. Yeah, good setup, but I'm good.
Just real quick, from a high school recruiting perspective as well, how has that been for you guys as far as just, I guess, even re-recruiting some of the kids
Mhm.
that you before, and then even some of the top kids in Texas that you're trying to get?
We want to recruit the high school players moving forward. To the earlier question, I think that it's a blend of transfers, retention, and incoming high school players. You can develop them, you can retain them, and we have such an amazing state that I don't think it would be in our best interest to not make the state of Texas and the best high school players in the state a huge priority. To not do that, I don't know if you can maximize who we are as a basketball program and university. So recruiting high school players, you're going to see us active. I also don't think our entire team or classes of 5 or 6 are going to be a part of our future, but getting the right 2 or 3, sometimes maybe even 4 in a class, and then and trying to then add players to the spring. That's our philosophy.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.